So the entire exhibition has a lot of different themes involved in it. We all kind of looked into different aspects of our art and how we would show that through our IB constraints, but also looking for ways to express ourselves. So it's really hard to pinpoint an exact theme for what the entire exhibition was, but I'm pretty sure it was network, where we are all combined together, because our themes kind of reached across, and you can kind of see there's the central motif going around that's hard to put into words, but it's there. My work was more centered around the theme of confinement, and I was looking into that less literally, rather than having boxes and physical confinement that's walls and putting a figure in something that you can't see, or boxing it in. I was trying to think more of other conceptual ideas, so cycles and routines, and how that can be confining, and how we tend to confine ourselves in our thinking and our minds, and something less literal is what I was trying to approach it. So a lot of my work I actually drew upon bases of mythology. So this piece is based on the ancient Greek myth of the primordial god of the sky, Uranus. And so that was this piece is more centered in the thought of how prophecies can be self-fulfilling and cyclical, and you can't escape that, and that's how I tried to express confinement through this piece. But the rest of my work is very centered around, inspired by my own life and how I experienced confinement, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic a lot. One of my pieces was the view from my window every day when we were in the pandemic and in the lockdowns. So I drew a lot of inspiration from what I saw around myself and how I felt at the time. Yeah. I looked a lot into different mediums to see how I could express things. There wasn't just one way to express everything. So this one is paint and acrylic paint. And then a lot of my other works, I have 3D with acrylic plastic. I worked a lot with acrylic plastic because I thought that it would help me lead into the idea of confinement a lot more, as it's clear, but it's there it's a physical body that's closing something in, but allows the viewer a way in. But I wasn't working with one specific medium throughout the entire thing, no. I wasn't doing as great a job with time management, but it all worked out in the end, thankfully. I liked to plan my work a lot in the beginning and then set things up and have a sort of timeline going about it, but I didn't feel too pressured in trying to give myself a set date by when I had to get something done by, because I thought that it would be best if I could have it go naturally. But I did work a lot on several pieces at the same time to make sure that I was making the best use of my time and making sure that I wasn't boxing myself into a corner, confining myself. But I was trying a lot to make sure I was having a lot of projects going on at the same time, so I could make the best use of my time and not have have to worry about not having enough pieces for the exhibition. I was very, very excited, but also very intimidated by everything. I think at first I was very hopeful, and I thought, oh, I'll be fine. So I spent a lot of time on experimenting with mediums that was out of my comfort zone. And then that helped me kind of grow a lot with my own skills and my perceptions of what art meant. So a lot of times I was trying to make sure I was doing something that was oh, it looks like good art, it looks good, it looks realistic. But I also, throughout the IBDP diploma program of art, I learned a lot about the concepts behind art is more important than the actual visual aesthetics. So there was this one piece that I did a lot of back and forth on that I eventually didn't end up using in my exhibition, but it helped me grow a lot as an artist, because I was initially very unhappy with how it turned out at the beginning, but then throughout the course of these 2 years, I went back and forth to fix it. But I think the internal battle I had with that piece helped me work a lot better with my other work, and that one kind of became the outlet of my frustrations, and then everything else was able to flow a lot better. Yeah. I think I've effectively conveyed the theme. I think I hoped that I added enough visual symbolism and stuff that the audience was able to understand what I was trying to get at while not confining them in a set definition. So I tried to keep everything as vague as I could and allow the audience to give their own interpretations of the work. And I was really proud when we exhibited everything, and people were coming up to me and telling me how they saw my work, and it was really beautiful to me that I could generate this kind of reflection in different people. And it also helped me think a lot myself on what the work meant to me. So I think that my theme was pretty prominent and people could understand. I think I'm proudest of one of the last pieces that I finished. It's called Stratum, and it was technical pen drawing with acrylic sheets sandwiched between each layer, so it was able to show this kind of depth. It's hard to articulate, but that piece took me a long time, I think since the beginning of grade 12 till the night before the exhibition. I was still setting that up, and it was a lot of like fighting with how to set it up for the exhibition, but also make it look nice and make sure that my message was conveyed in it. Especially the creation of the each layer. It was a technical pen drawing of the view outside my house, and it was the first time that I had attempted something so intimidating, and because it was a very detailed piece and very large, and so I spent my entire grade 12 semesters basically slaving away at this piece. At the end, the night before, I was faced with all these challenges of, oh, how do I hang it up? How do I sandwich it properly without getting the pieces to fall out? Do I have to glue it? What if I glue it wrong? And it was really, really stressful, but in the end, when it all came together, I was really, really proud of how it looked, and how so many people were also really enjoyed looking at it as much as I did creating it. I think maybe it would be best to think in the big picture, so it's really easy to get super tunnel vision, focused on one piece that you really like, but think about how the IB will be viewing your work as a body of work, and that your theme has to be very prevalent and pronounced in all of them. So for a grade 11 person who's working on IBDP art right now, I'd say is to plan everything out very clearly for yourself, so you don't make it hard for yourself later on when you're setting up for the exhibition and have to write all your exhibition texts. Also, don't do what I did and plan your time much better, and that way you can take your summers and have fun and not cram 3 pieces like I did. But it is a really rewarding process, so at the end of it you'll get to look back at all you've done and be really proud of yourself, even if your scores don't reflect it. That doesn't really matter, because you have grown yourself as an artist, and you should be proud of how far you've come.